Hi, welcome to our very first Level 2 Statistical Inference video. We're going to start the ball rolling with discussing the problem. Now in the statistical cycle, PPDAC, we start with the problem, we develop a plan, collect our data, complete the analysis, and write some conclusions. So we're going to focus on what is the problem. Now your problem must consist of the following: a question, a purpose statement, and a prediction. So let's start with the question. You need to select one variable to investigate and state the units. For example, height or the number of text sent. Now the variable you pick must be numerical and could either be discrete, which is data collected by counting, number of text sent is that, or continuous data, which is data collected by measuring. We measure heights. Now the question you write must be a comparative question between two different groups using the variable you've selected. For example, the height of males versus the height of females. Now you've got to identify a parameter in your question that you wish to compare. For example, the mean or the median. We're going to strongly emphasize you do the median and encourage you to do that because that allows you to complete and use a statistical graph called a box and whisker graph. You must indicate a direction, i.e. greater than or less than. And finally, you must identify the population the groups belong to and a time that the population data set was collected. Wow, there's a lot going on there in your question. So let's go through an example of a question and see if it's got everything we've just spoken about. Here we go. I wonder if the median time it takes to run a marathon for males tends to be less than the median time it takes to run a marathon for females. Using a population data set from 200 marathon runners in the Auckland Marathon in June of 2009. The time is being measured in minutes. Let's check it's covered everything. Have we got a variable in units? Well, the variable is the time it takes to run the marathon. And yes, we've told them it's measured in minutes. The groups is males and females. The parameter is the median. We're looking at the median time. The direction, yes, we're saying is the median time for males less than the median time for females. And finally, have we covered the population and time? Yes, we have. We've talked about a population data set of 200 marathon runners in the Auckland Marathon in June of 2009. So we've covered everything we need to. That's a very good question. Okay, let's move on to a purpose statement. This is a statement that provides us with the purpose of your investigation and who or where could the findings be applied. Some people like to do a little bit of research, online research, to try and come up with ideas for their purpose statement, and that's perfectly fine. Here's an example. In the year 2020, with women's sport and athletics beginning to stand equal with men, is there still a physical difference between the genders in running speeds? Men are categorized as the stronger of the two genders, but do they have a higher endurance than women, and can they run a long distance quicker than women? I'm going to explore the time to complete a marathon for males and compare this with the time to complete a marathon for females. The findings could be useful for sports institutions looking to develop similar or different programs for their males and females. So that's an example of a purpose statement. What is the purpose of my investigation and who or where could the findings be applied? Right, finally we have our prediction. We make a prediction before we begin and provide a reason why we think this. Here's my example of a prediction. We've grown up in a society where we're told men are generally physically strong and can run quicker than women. So I believe the median time for men to run the marathon will be less or quicker than the median time for women to run the marathon. So I've given my prediction and I've given a reason why I think that. Okay, here's our first video done. We've talked about our problem, which consists of a question, a purpose statement, and a prediction. Brilliant. Thanks so much for tuning in.